Welcome back to my channel. My name is David, and as always, if you're new here, hi, welcome. I've recorded this video so many times. Hopefully this is going to be the last time. It probably won't, but hopefully it is. So the book I'll be talking about today is Dune by Frank Herbert. This was a really intimidating book for me, and it really is an intimidating book for me to talk about because I want to make it just right, you know. I didn't just read this book for a month. I actually lived in this world for a month. I completely absorbed this book from cover to cover. If there wasn't if there was a character or a term or an object that I didn't understand completely, I just searched it on YouTube and I just done some research as I went along. So a lot of people haven't actually read this book, but they are being more encouraged to do so because of the new movie that's going to come out at the end of the year. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, this is going to be a part one to a two-part video that I'm doing for June. This part I'm going to be talking about the novel, and in part two, which I'll be uploading in a day or so, I'll be talking about the movie by David Lynch and the miniseries, which I'm going to be rewatching. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Hopefully, it's going to be really interesting for you guys, and maybe it will encourage you to pick up Dune and read it, because this is, I mean, even though Dune is a complicated novel and it does throw all these weird and wacky characters at you and all these strange environments at you, it is a really fun read. It really is. Before I get started, I just want to I just want to give a warning. I am going to say names of characters and places wrong. So if I pronounce something wrong, please forgive me if you're a die-hard fan. And please remember that I've only read this novel once. So please keep that in mind going forward. So also, I just want to just tell you a little bit about the book. This was published on the 1st of August 1965, and it was written, as I said, by a fantastic author called Frank Herbert. He is an American author, and he was born on the 8th of October 1920, and he died on the 11th of February 1986. So before I get into my, into the story of Dune, sorry, I just want to say, as I usually do, this is going to be a spoiler-free video. I'm not going to say anything about or spoil anything about the main storyline of this fantastic book. Also, this is going to be my own opinions about this novel. If your opinions are different than mine, if that is fine. If you like this book, that is brilliant. If you didn't like this book, that is also okay. Let me know down in the comments down below if you've read it, or if you are planning to read it as well, or if this has been any help to you. Hopefully it has. I'll try to keep it as simple as I possibly can. I will do my best. So Dune is also a sci-fi book as well, but I consider it more as to be a epic adventure story, which happens to be set in space. So the main storyline of Dune, the whole world, or the whole universe of Dune, is set in space, and you have all these different planets. Like you have the Callahan planet, and you have planet Arrakis. And for example, to actually name a few, and the whole universe is or the whole world is set 20,000 years roughly in humanity's future. Even though it doesn't talk about Earth or the planet Earth a lot, or at all in this novel, it doesn't mention Earth at all. The whole galaxy is reliant on one element. And that element is called spice. Spice is only found on one planet in the whole galaxy, and that planet is Arrakis, where the main story is actually focusing on. Also, Arrakis is also known as Dune, as well. So if you're reading the book and if they're talking about Arrakis and Dune, they are talking about the same planet. So you have no idea how long it took me to actually pronounce Arrakis. I kept on going back to my videos and saying it, and finally I got it. So anyway, this spice, what is it? It's this. I think this is sort of like a powder type of element, or I'm not sure. It doesn't really go into detail about what spice physically looks like. But spice is is essential to have safe space travel, and to travel in space safely, they need spice in order to do this. Also, spice has the ability to extend life. Um, if you take it in small quantities, and as infrequently as you possibly can, it is safe. But if you take it regularly, you can become addicted to it, and your eyes become blue or turn blue. And if you become addicted to it, it is very hard, extremely difficult to become, to actually come off of spice, or to get over your addiction. So so anyway, the whole story is focusing on two families. One is called House Atreides, and the other one is called House Harkonnen. These families both despise each other immensely, even to the point that they are willing to kill each other in order to get by in their day-to-day lives. It isn't really described in the novel about why these two families hate each other so much, or why they want to kill each other so badly. I did some digging and some research, and I'm pretty sure it's about a war or something in their past, that some like disagreements, and maybe their personalities are different. I don't know, but it's never really discussed in the book. House Harkonnen are kind of the bad guys of the novel. They are described about what Herbert described them to be as sort of like the Nazis of the world, and or these or his universe. And the House Atreides are kind of portrayed as being the good guys, but are they really, or are they just trying to pretend to be the good guys, but they kind of have maybe a kind of something going on in the background, or kind of have hidden motivations? Because the reason why, because something that Frank Herbert wanted to discuss in the novel Dune is because he wanted to talk about you shouldn't be swayed by a charismatic and good-looking leader. You should question you should question their motives and their orders. You shouldn't blindly follow a leader because they're charismatic and they're good-looking, and they're pretty much like a Prince Charming, and you shouldn't do whatever they tell you without questioning them. And that's a really good thing that he actually was talking about, or wanted to discuss about. You should question authority figures, no matter who they are. Family members or police, or politicians. You should question why they're doing what they're doing. You should follow them, but only if you don't do it blindly. So House Atreides has three main characters throughout the whole novel. It has Paul, who is our main character. Paul is a small teenage boy, and his father is called Duke Leto Atreides, and his mother is called Jessica, or Lady Jessica Atreides. Jessica is my favourite character, or one of my favourite characters throughout the whole novel. And I think that this is because I don't really have a mother figure right now. My mother is in hospital. Don't worry, it's nothing to do about coronavirus. And she's been away for months, and Lady Jessica was kind of a surrogate mother figure to me, if that makes sense. And she's very protective over Paul as well. So in the whole universe, you have a emperor who is responsible for everything. He actually rules the whole universe and galaxy and all these planets, and he's responsible for basically keeping the peace. And he sends House Atreides to Arrakis to actually manage the spice production, and to basically be in charge of it. And when they go to so when Paul and his family go to Arrakis, they actually go into this big palace which is on the planet, and it used to be the home of the Harkonnens. I don't know why the Harkonnens aren't there anymore, or why they left, or if they were forced to leave. Excuse me. Or if they got bored just being there. So on this planet of Arrakis, you have you have these monsters called sandworms. Now these sandworms, if you think about Tremors, that's pretty much the same thing. They are these massive worms that burrow underneath the sand, and they are attracted to rhythm sounds. So if you go like that, and they are attracted to that noise. If you there are noises which which you can walk on the sands, but you have to walk without rhythm. So if you go, like that, for example, they won't detect you because they will think that it's the natural movement of the sands. Arrakis doesn't have any water by the way. It doesn't have any rain. It doesn't have any lakes, rivers, ponds. It doesn't have anything like that. So water on Arrakis is extremely valuable and sought after. It's kind of like the highest priority for people on Arrakis. Every time that they see water or water's around them, they consider it to be the highest thing to them and the most important thing to them. And while Paul and his family are on Arrakis, they overlook the spice in production. The Duke and Leto goes to a mining colony and tries to get used to his situation. Because it's only on Arrakis where there is no water. On planet Caladan or whatever, there is water, there are seas, there is rain, and it's just only on here that there's no water on the planet of Arrakis. So you're in the House Harkonnen. There is this a main villain is the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. He is the main villain. He is a massive overweight character who hovers in this kind of chair. And he is very scheming. He has plans within plans within plans within plans. He has a plan for everything. He is he is always 10 steps ahead of his enemies, the Atreides, and he is very narrow-minded and focused. He is a very unlikable character, and but in a way I can't help but admire him, even though he's really unlikable, if that makes sense. He also a little fun fact as well. He is Paul's grandfather, and he's also Lady Jessica's father, as well. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. And the Baron wants to kill Duke Leto and Paul and Jessica, and I thought, dude, you want to kill basically your daughter and your grandson. I thought was kind of weird. So while Paul is on the planet of Arrakis, the Baron tries to kill the Atreides. So he I won't say he successfully tries to kill Duke Leto, but it's kind of like a wink wink nod to that. But he tries to kill Paul and Jessica as they flee from the palace and go into the planet of Arrakis itself. And something happens. They go into a sandstorm, and the Baron is told that that Paul and Jessica have been killed. That he shouldn't worry about it, and he kind of accepts the fact that he has actually won. That he's killed Jessica and Paul. So when Jessica and Paul are on the planet of Arrakis, they were in the deserts. They come across a tribe or a desert folk called the Fremen. Now the Fremen are a tribe that live on the planet or on the surface of Arrakis. They are they are called desert people. They control these worm things, which I mentioned as well, which are massive. Worms are massive. As I said in the movie Tremors, they are very small compared to the worms of Arrakis. The worms on Arrakis are huge, but they don't really. They aren't really much of a threat unless they are attracted to rhythm. if you are walking on the sand and if you're not keeping any rhythm whatsoever, they kind of leave you alone. So and they're also attracted to spice as well, and spice production, because of the probably the like rhythm that of the machines. They're probably attracted to that rather than being addicted to the spice itself. So when Paul has been and his mother Jessica are confronted by the Fremen, they are kind of taken into the tribe and accepted. And the Fremen wear these suits on their bodies always, and these suits are called steel suits. And the point of these suits is that because water is such a precious commodity on Arrakis, these suits capture all of your body sweat and moisture and store it into certain sections throughout your whole body, which you can drink whenever you want, and it will keep you hydrated. So these suits capture your sweat from your body and store it in these little compartments throughout the suit. It does capture moisture from other things as well, such as urine, and it does mention feces as well, the moisture from feces. So you could potentially be drinking your own, your own number twos, if that makes sense. So, and these Fremen are very tribal. They don't consider each of them, themselves to be individuals. They consider themselves to be a whole unit, because that way they are stronger if they are together, rather than if they're separate they can bend or they can break. But if they are one unit and one people, they can be more stronger. And when someone dies or is slain in the tribe, they say that they say that their flesh is theirs, but their water belongs to the tribe. So when someone dies in the tribe, their water is recycled and stored and given to the tribe so they can survive. Also another thing as well, when someone dies in the tribe, like when Paul has a fight with someone, another Fremen, and he kills this Fremen, he inherits this Fremen's wife and children. So any children and any wives or any girlfriends that this Fremen actually has instantly become yours. So that seems fine as well. They actually kind of accept that. The leader of the Fremen tribe is a man called Stilgar, who gives Paul the name of Usul. I think that's his Fremen name. But what they openly call him, what the name they say, right, what name do you want us to call you openly? And he says, what's the name of a mouse or a rat that's in the desert, that Pacific mouse or rat? And it's called Mordeep. And he has been given the name of Mordeep, but he wants to be called Paul as well, because he still wants to be regarded as being a Atreides, because he's very proud of being an Atreides, and he's very proud of he's actually very proud of his father as well. So he says, what can I actually be called? Paul Mordeep? And they call him Paul Mordeep or Mordeep in the novel as well. So if you're ever reading this and you read Mordeep, or the phrase Mordeep, just know that they're referring to Paul. So in the novel, there is a bit of a romance thing as well. You do see a character called Shani or Chani. Again, I probably said her name completely wrong. She's a kind of the romantic figure for Paul. So that's maybe a thing that you girls could get into. I'm not sure if that would be something which you'd be interested in doing, or maybe something that would actually interest you. But Chani is a kind of a romance figure for Paul. They have a child together, or try to have a child together, and they are very, very romantic with each other. And so as this is going on, the Harkonnens have taken over the palace on Arrakis, and they want to so the Fremen confront the Harkonnens by riding on the backs of these giant worms I told you about, or these sandworms. So yeah, that's really good. As I said, you have people that are called the Bene Gesserits, which, as I said, they're kind of like witches, but not really. And you have people like mentats, which are kind of like Mr. Spocks. They are very high. They actually regard logic as being really a top priority for them. You also have a phrase called the Kwisatz Kwisatz Haderach. Now that is a person which the Bene Gesserit wanted to control the breeding of the Harkonnens and the Atreides to form some sort of like super being that they would call the Kwisatz Haderach. That would have to be the word I would have to say that I actually stutter when I say it. So it's kind of like a super being that would actually unite these two houses and stop them from fusing and actually bring them together. I think that's what that means. I could be wrong. I probably am. Yeah, this is a really good novel. It really is. The book is split up into 3 books because originally Frank wanted to publish this whole novel into 3 separate books, and it's broken up into so the main novel is broken up into 3 books. The first one's called Dune, the second one's called More Deep, and the third novel is called The Prophets. For each of these books, you don't have chapters. It's kind of broken up into sections, which start off with a kind of like a blurb from someone called the Princess Irulan. And these little breaks or sections are very, very short. And the Princess Irulan, you may be wondering who this is. She's not really brought up a lot in the book, but she basically is I think she's the oldest daughter of the Emperor. She is brought up a little bit at the end of the novel, but she isn't really a main character. But I thought it was kind of cool. It's really interesting as well. At the beginning of the book, you do have a map. This actually really confused me, and I didn't really refer to it as as much. But it's a kind of a nice thing to actually have in a novel. You're thinking, oh my god, it's got a map. It's like going to be like really, really complex. It does have some appendices at the back. It has 4 appendices, which you don't really need to read. You can read the main story and you can skip the appendices and you'll be totally fine. But if you read the novel and you're like me and you're really fascinated with this world and you want to know more, read the appendices. It will give you a little bit of icing on the cake. And then at the back you have this glossary, as I said, or a terminologies. And it's all alphabetical. It's like a dictionary. It starts from A to Z. And when I was reading the novel at first, I was referring to, whenever I come to a term that I didn't understand, I went to the glossary at the back of the novel. And it kind of made sense to me. It kind of helped me. She doesn't say any character names in this. So if you come across a name or a character's name in this and you want to know more about them, you've got to search online. It doesn't say any characters in the glossary. It only has terminologies and worms and all that type of stuff. It doesn't actually specifically tell you about characters. It does mention More Deep and Kwisatz Haderach, but and the Bene Gesserit and the Mentats. But for example, it doesn't mention who Paul Atreides is or the Baron or anything like that. So yeah. So that's really it, really. It does have a little thing at the back as well where it mentions all the books, because it has several books by Frank Herbert. Obviously Dune, Dune Messiah, Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House of Dune. And but it continues off from because his son Brian kind of expanded the world. So that's really it, really. My likes of this story is I like the characters, I like the world, as much. I love this world so much, and I love the Fremen. The Fremen are my favourite part of this book. I mean, every time that the Fremen were mentioned, or you were reading about the Fremen, I really liked that part of the novel immensely. My dislikes about the book is that it can be a bit confusing, and it's very political at times. It can be very political, and it's very confusing. You want to get straight to the point. And hopefully I've done this in this video. Closing thoughts. Give it a read. I mean, you'll either like it or you won't like it, but you won't know unless you read it. My rating for Dune, I'm going to give this a 4.5 stars out of 5. The reason why I'm not going to give it the full 5 is because you can be a bit confusing on the first read, but on the reread, I'll probably give it the full marks. I am going to be reading The Messiah of Dune, or Dune Messiah, very soon, because I've got it on my Kindle, so I'm looking forward to doing that. Probably sometime this year. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, guys, and I will see you in part 2, which I'll upload in about a day or 2, where I'll be talking about the movie from David Lynch, which I've actually just rewatched. And I'll talk about the miniseries as well, which I need to rewatch as well. So give me a day or 2, and then I'll do that. So also, I am reading a book called Candy by Luke Davis, which I'm doing for a friend of mine. So that'll be the next thing that I do after this part 2 of my video of Dune. And I am watching the movie as well. I do want to give a quick shout out to a very good supporter of my channel, and she's a very good friend, and she's a very awesome person. Her name is called Kimberly C Rivera. Hopefully I've said her name right. Please check out her channel. I'll put it in the description down below. Kim is such an amazing person. She does good content, even though she has only done 3 videos. She's more of an author. She's actually an author, but she does talk about books as well. So please check out her channel. She's amazing. Yeah, give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Please click the little bell icon thingamajiggy on my page. You know what you need to do. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading, and I will see you in a couple of days on my part 2 video of Dune. So I'll see you guys. Bye.